Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Raising the New Earth podcast. I'm your host, Noah Dory, and today we are going to talk about the heart, as this is Valentine's Day. And we're going to talk about how the heart chakra, from a chakra medicine standpoint, is related to our body and our soulmate connection. We're also going to talk about the spirituality behind love and what it is really about. So year after year, I see misconception about what Valentine's Day is about, and some people feel even more lonely if they don't have a partner to share Valentine's Day. So I'm here to burst the bubble a little bit and just talk about what it means to be in alignment with your heart chakra. So we there's a quote from Rabbi Hillel, and the quote, this is a translation from Hebrew, but the quote says, "If I'm not for myself, who am I? If I'm not for myself, what am I?" So it's important to recognize that we really need to be both, not just for me and not just for others. And in the heart, we have the integration of the two, and we have the recognition of the heart self. And when we truly love ourselves, and I'm not talking about the narcissistic way, but when we truly love ourselves, our immune system is actually at rest. When we don't love ourselves, that could lead to a misalignment of the heart chakra, and along with other things. Obviously, it's not that simple, but along with other things and other issues, it could lead to breast cancer, which is an organ that's related to the heart chakra. So we're going to talk about all of that and more. Dr. Hammer from German New Medicine calls it a conflict. What conflict do you have in your body that is manifesting in your body? Dr. Hammer has done a lot of studies around especially cancer patients. So if you want to look into his work, you're more than welcome to. But we're going to approach this from Kabbalah and chakra medicine standpoint. And so love is really the suspension of the immune system. I love you because you are me. And the moment I love you, my immune system is getting a rest. My immune system is at ease, right? And so we need to teach people, and we need to teach ourselves to wake up to the self of the heart. Be creative. You see here, I have my keyboard here. I'm also an artist. I have to keep that creativity alive. This is the outlet and the harmonious expression of my heart. And also, we need to create that harmony between the female and the male aspects within ourselves, right? We talked about it before in previous episode, the femininity and the masculinity vessels within us. So when energy rises in the heart chakra, but immediately we feel that is being taken away, you just have to notice that this is the third chakra, the attention getter, the ego that takes that away. And this is when we talk about the solar plexus chakra. So you need to be aware that there is no blockages in the heart chakra, because if there is, then we may see the glands that are responsible for creating the hormones that are misaligned as well. So we know that the heart chakra is associated with the circularity system, the thymus gland, the heart, of course, and the lungs. So in that center, there's compassion, there's love, there's group consciousness and spirituality. And because it governs the heart, the lungs, and the thymus immunity, blood and circulation, it is about love. And when we are in alignment with that energy center, that chakra, that heart chakra, we will notice that we're more compassionate towards ourselves and others. We will notice that we're more friendly, and we will notice that we're actually in harmonious relationships within us and around us. The heart chakra, when it's misaligned, we see the correlation between misalignment of the heart chakra to heart diseases, diseases of the immune system, like we said before, breast cancer, and other problems related to immune system, allergies, and so on and so forth. We also see chronic fatigue, myalgia of all sorts. And we have to notice that there's 3 stages from the ego self, which is, if your heart chakra is if we can break down the heart chakra into 3 stages, we will see the ego self to the place we want to be, to another step, which is the 3rd step. So the ego self in the heart chakra is all about possessive romance, jealousy, a feeling of loss, grief, and hurt, right? This is the ego. This is really the 3rd chakra trying to take over the heart chakra. And then in the middle, we will have a creative transformation of some sort. So we are no longer obsessed about someone or something, but rather we are seeking a creative outlet to be that vessel for our true divine love. And then if we aspire for one more step, we will see a universal love. So you'll see some kind of a connection between a heart chakra to the crown chakra. There's going to be a lot of compassion coming from you. You will feel that radiating from your heart chakra, leading to a universal love. So the heart chakra is one of the 5 pillars of health that is connected to immunity. Within the immunity, we see the kidney, we see the me, not me, blood, heart chakra, like we mentioned, and the thymus gland. So to go back a little bit, we have 5 pillars of health. We have regeneration, oxidation, immunity, assimilation, and elimination. So like we said before, the heart chakra is a huge part of the immunity pillar. And so we want to make sure that it's always aligned. And we want to make sure that what we're feeling is really our heart and not our ego that is trying to take over. Within the heart chakra, like we said before, we feel that romance, universal love, which is inside, right? And then on the other hand, when it's misaligned or blocked for some reason, trapped traumas, misconception of how we see the world, imprints that were left with inside of us by previous relationships, then you'll see a feeling of loss, grief, hurt, and jealousy. So this is what we see on the outside. Another one that is connected to the immunity pillar is the throat chakra. And both the throat and the heart chakra are connected to the fire season, which I thought is really interesting to see. So I know that everybody is looking for love, but I always feel that when we don't love ourselves, again, not in a narcissistic way, but when we don't find that love for ourselves within ourselves, it's going to be very, very hard for us to find that lasting love relationship that really fulfills us. And Kabbalah teaches, however, that we do not find or look for love, but rather we create love. And it breaks down 12 steps to long-lasting relationships that I thought, I will share with you. So the first step in the process is a continuous process. So once you find the relationship that your heart desires, this is where the work begins. And a true spiritual relationship is a continuous process of growth for both of you, right? We often see relationships that started in someone's 20s and no longer work in their 40s. Why? It's because one of the they grew apart. We say they grew apart, but really it's the spiritual growth that has been so substantial for one of the partners and not so much for the other. And so there needs to be a desire to keep pushing yourself, to transform yourself, and to elevate the relationship continuously, which takes work. So that will be the first step. The second step is to look beyond that 1% illusion of the 5 senses. And so we know in spirituality that there are 2 realities. The 1% realm, this is the material world, the physical world, but we also have the 99% dimension, which is beyond our 5 senses, which is what's hidden from us. So when we meet someone that we're interested in dating, we're immediately attracted to the 1%, right? We're attracted to what's on the outside. But at some point, that attraction may diminish, and this is where you need to do the work. So when you do find someone, you need to make sure that it's not just the 1%, but it's also there is a faith, and the legs of this table are so solid that nothing will break it. So there needs to be almost like a mutual elevation of consciousness to begin with that will give you both the room to grow even more, if that makes sense. The third steps is don't limit, right? I think we have all been in situations where we say, I'm going to only be in a relationship with someone who is XYZ. But I encourage you not to limit yourself to such a list, because this is how we close ourselves off from the possibilities of what the divine and the light wants us to give. So, throw away that list, but be open to all options, because you don't know where your true love and soulmate is going to come from. The fourth step is higher spiritual goal. So even before entering a relationship, it is important to know what your purpose is in this world, what your mission statement is. And if your mission statement contradicts that of the person that you're interested in, it may be a good sign not to start their relationship. It may be a good sign that this is not the relationship that you can grow with. The fifth one is balance. So we've all been there, the honeymoon stage. We can't sleep, we can't eat, butterflies, da, 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 da. But guess what? This is a sign that you're not that you haven't passed the test yet, right? Once the butterflies are done, and once you have settled in with that person, you have to be engaging in a spiritual relationship. So if your spirituality is meditating, try to see if the other person is into meditating. If he or she is not, have them seek a different type of faith, because faith is what's going to keep your relationship not only stable, but it's going to elevate you as well. So there needs to be a spirituality involved in your relationship after the honeymoon phases out. The sixth one is there is no time, there's no space, there is no motion. Really, we need to understand that your opinion is a byproduct of each person working towards their own higher spiritual goal, and it has nothing to do with the amount of time that you spend together. So so there's no void when you're apart, because you feel your connection beyond time, space, and motion, where truly it is the consciousness of the relationship that is that glue. So this is an indication that you are in the right relationship, because you want to be together all the time, but you don't have to be, because it's the real one. No time, no space, no motion. The seventh one is no expectations or contradictions. The only condition ever for a relationship is that there is a movement toward the light, both individually and as a unit. And the moment we have expectation from our partner, we lose control, right? So that condition that we place on our partner is always coming from our ego, and it stifles the growth of our relationship. It is the ego that wants things to be a certain way, and when we're focusing on our expectations, focusing only on the me, this is an indication that we're not connected to the heart chakra. This is the ego that we talked about before that is taking over. So be aware of that, the expectation, the condition. I will only love him or her if ba 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 ba. I need him to be ba 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 ba. That's not divinity speaking. This is the ego speaking. The eighth one is no entitlement. Having the mentality of I deserve indicates that you want something for nothing. However, I would also use that opportunity to say that I had a chance to really take a rest from dating and say, I'd rather be alone than to settle for another mediocre relationship. And so I did say to myself, I deserve the best relationship, but it's also because I have been in the process of dating the wrong guys. I've been in the process of, at some point you see a pattern. You're dating the same person, just a different face, if that makes sense. So at that point, you do have to pause and say, wait, what am I bringing into my life? And what do I need to start bringing into my life? So once you recognize a pattern, you have to change it, meditate on what it is that you truly want, connect back to your heart chakra, and bring about what you feel that your heart seeks, what you feel that you deserve, right? So there's two ways of taking it. Another step is connection that is not based on filling each other's lacks. So I always look at relationship as two circles, and then in the middle we have, one circle combined. I forgot how it's called. We studied about it in math classes, but I forgot. Anyways, you'll have that two individual circles, but with one circle created in the middle. So we are learning that in spirituality, we know that the only one that can truly fill up our cup is the light, never another person. The concept of you complete me is so detrimental to a true spiritual relationship, because when we take away the opportunity of the other person to transform by trying to do the work or fix things for them, we are really taking away their opportunity for growth, and we're really taking away the actual value of relationship. Number 10 is I am the cause, not the effect, or not the victim. What does that mean? When we try to list in our heads everything the other person has done wrong, it only starts the ego taking over instead of us taking responsibility for our own lives. When we see something that's wrong in our partner, this is really us that did something wrong, because we stopped investing energy in ourselves and in a relationship that started investing instead and being a victim, right? We don't want to be a victim. We don't want to have a victim mentality. Someone did this to me, they did it, he did it, she did it, he's doing this, he's doing that, it makes me feel. But instead, we want to be the cause. So instead of blaming, try to think about how can I create unity as opposed to trigger separation. What can I work on myself more? Why is it triggering me right now? What is this telling me that I need to work on? And that, again, I'm not talking about abusive relationship. By all means, no. Obviously, I'm talking about normal relationship where someone is truly in love. There is mutual respect for one another. But once you start putting a cause, and you're starting behaving like a victim, again, not from an abusive standpoint, but from, I don't know, he's out every night, what am I doing now? This is a victim mentality. So you want to bring the light back into your relationship. Number 11 is always be giving. Spirituality teaches us that giving actually fulfills us. And so by giving, we are receiving. And that's the name Kabbalah means to receive or receiving. So if you remember how it felt good when you did the perfect act of sharing for another person, that pleasure is greater than the pleasure of receiving. And in a spiritual relationship, we need to give for no reason. Just like the light, just like divinity gifting us for no reason. We got to check in with ourselves to see if we're giving only because we want something in return, or we're giving for the pleasure of giving. And number 12, and the last one, is physical relationships are always the effect, never the cause. So physical intimacy between two people in a relationship is important. However, I would add, it has to always be a result of the spiritual connection and the higher goal of the couple. A spiritual relationship will never grow out of just a physical connection. You will know that you are allowing the physical connection to be the cause of your relationship when you always feel like something is missing. When in actuality, that fulfillment comes from the consciousness, not the physicality of the connection. So to summarize, it all comes down to consciousness, right? The ground of all being is consciousness. Deepak Chopra talks about it. my mentor and Professor Dr. Amit Goswami talks about it. This is the ground of all being. This is consciousness. And so we need to look at relationship as a vehicle that will allow us to take our true selves, our divinity to that next level. And we have to remember that relationships are a tool for growth and transformation. So ask yourself why you were put together with that other person. Is it for your growth? Is it a lasting relationship? Is it a lesson that you need to learn and then move on? What is it teaching you, and how through this relationship you can change not just yourself and make that spiritual growth, but to actually make a difference in the world together. And we're going to close by wishing you a soulmate connection, not just with another person, but first and foremost with yourself. Once you recognize that integration within the heart, then you will have the heart self not only survive, but actually thrive to bring about everything that you desire in life. So that's all I had for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach us on all podcast platforms or email us at raisingthenewearthpodcast@gmail.com. And happy Valentine's Day. I'll see you next time.